The Royals went out and swept the Tampa Bay Rays, dominated the game today. They've won 9 out of their last 10, playing some good ball right now. We're going to talk about it all right now, live on One Royal Way. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are live on this Thursday night on YouTube. So make sure if you're watching this, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your friends subscribe. Let's just keep this thing rolling. Make sure y'all are subscribed on the audio platforms as well. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows. Turn on those notification bells on all platforms so you know when these episodes go up. On the audio side, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sunday night, Thursday night, usually we go live. So that seems to be the pattern at this point, but it'll kind of just vary based on the game times. But the Royals played earlier today. They won 8-2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. They swept the series. They won 9 out of their last 10, as I mentioned. They're heading to Baltimore this weekend, looking to keep things rolling. They really have gotten things turned around over the last week and a half. Obviously, playing the Rockies helps a lot, but when you look back also, you win 2 of 3 against the Houston Astros, and they had won 5 of 6 coming into that series. You win that one. Tampa have been playing really good baseball coming into the series. They got to 500. They had won 5 in a row. They had just swept the Padres in San Diego, and the Royals went in there and won the series and kind of punked them, to be honest. Like, I know a couple of those games were close, but for the most part, the Royals had dominated that series start to finish. They allowed 3 runs in 3 games. That's it, man. And one of those runs was kind of in garbage time in a way. Like, it was 7-1, and they gave up a run in the 6th inning, but the game was pretty much done at that point. So really, 1 or 2 runs that really were of consequence. Just absolutely dominated from start to finish in this thing, and it comes down to pitching. Was the story of this series for the most part. Even offensive outbursts notwithstanding, and I know we'll get into that. I do want to talk about, obviously, we didn't talk about the game on Wednesday because there wasn't a show, but we're going to go ahead and get right into that. And, I mean, I can't not talk about this game and start off without talking about Noah freaking Cameron. Big league debut. He comes up for Jonathan Bolin. Cole Reagans, they skipped his start, and this is going to be Noah Cameron's big league debut and likely his only outing in the big leagues, at least for now. And he sure as hell made the most of it, man. Took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, 6 1/3, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, 5 walks. A couple of those were kind of questionable. I think he probably could have flipped strikeout or walk very easily there. But the thing that I loved about watching him pitch, there was a confidence in what he was doing. He didn't look too big for the moment. There are times where you can tell guys are a little like way amped to be there, and their stuff is spraying all over the place. Like the fastball velo's up a little, and they're kind of spraying their command. The breaking ball's not there, and they're just kind of fighting to stay in it in a debut. And he didn't have any of that. He commanded the fastball really well. He had the cutter working as well as a variant to his fastball. The slider he had working on guys at a couple different planes, one that kind of swept a little more, and he was able to get one that kind of dove, big curveball. He had all 5 pitches working in this game, and he got some whiffs on the changeup. He had 8 whiffs in total, 7 on the cutter slider combo. Just an incredibly impressive performance from a guy that went from, oh, hey, this is a good story, local kid, gets drafted by the team, and hey, maybe he'll be something someday, to last year really breaking out. And it's like, oh, this guy's going to help the big league team. And he showed no signs of slowing down. He goes to AAA, and it was just a matter of when he was going to get his opportunity. And there really wasn't one for him. And it's not for lack of trying on his part, but Chris Bubich and Michael Lorenzen have been so good. Like, it's not like they need him to fill in and try and win a spot in the rotation. All 5 spots have been pretty well filled. Cole Reagans getting a little soft tissue injury and needing to skip a start presented the opportunity. And what we showed and what this showed was that Noah Cameron can hang in the big leagues. and he's going to be a part of this team moving forward in some capacity. Now, he ended up going back down to AAA right after this game. It was kind of a formality. Joel Goldberg kind of quipped on the podcast or on the broadcast that he could have thrown a perfect game and he would have gone back down. Like, just from a roster perspective, it just didn't make a lot of sense. And they're not going to just stash him in the bullpen, at least not at this point. So, kind of an unfortunate reality of the sport sometimes, where he did his job. He looked great. He looked confident. The league was posting about Noah Cameron making his debut, taking a no into the 7th. But back up to Omaha he goes. But I know this isn't the last time we're going to see Noah Cameron, and major hats off to him, and an early toast game to him, because that was incredibly fun to watch, incredibly impressive, confident. He looked composed. He was pitch efficient, forced early contact, and relied on some incredible defense behind him. There were a couple pitches that got away from him a little bit or left over the plate, and his defense bailed him out. But when you're a guy that doesn't have high octane stuff, sometimes you got to rely on that. And there is a part of knowing who you are, and he is that guy. He is kind of like a Seth Lugo in that way of, I'm just going to get some early contact here and just throw it over the plate and get a ground ball. And he did that. Renfroe made a great play at the wall. Bobby made a great play. Michael made one. So just all around a great performance from the team, as well as what Noah Cameron did. There wasn't a ton in this game offensively. I said the Royals win 3-0. The biggest thing for me, they gave it, and I think this is also what allowed Noah Cameron to settle in a little bit. Bobby gets a hit, or he walked. I apologize. He walks, and did he walk, or was it a single? Why am I completely forgetting this? No, he singled, because I was thinking of the previous game where he took until the 8th to get the hit to extend the hitting streak. He extended his hitting streak in the first at-bat. And then Vinny Pasquantino comes up, and oftentimes, because of the nature of Bobby being a little bit more of an aggressive hitter at times, Vinny will often take the first pitch and try and work a count a little bit. Nope. Drew Rasmussen threw a fastball middle at 96, and Vinny didn't miss it. Crushed it. Home run. Gives the Royals an early lead, allows Noah Cameron to settle in, and the rest kind of falls into place. Later in the game, Bobby comes up with 2 on and with 2 on and 2 out in the 5th, and slices a ball to right field, and they'll get an extra run, and that was all they would need. Noah Cameron went back out for the 7th. Obviously, he had the no-hitter going, so they're going to let him go until he gave up a hit. He walked a guy and then gave up the single, so it's 1st and 2nd with 1 out, and John Schreiber comes in. And this is a spot where we saw John Schreiber a lot last year. In the beginning of the year, he was really good in these spots. Johnny Leverage, as it got talked about on the broadcasts and on social media and everything. But as the season wore on, it wasn't the same, and he wasn't the same guy. And spots this year, he just gives up. He's a ground ball, sinker ball guy. Sometimes that can work to your detriment. But in this case for Schreiber, gets a pop out fly, and a ground out, gets out of the inning clean, and we're moving on. Ursig clean, a clean 8th, and then a clean 9th for Estevez after gave up a couple of hits, but it was really never in doubt. He took some of the momentum back with a strikeout on a big at bat. I think it was against Jonathan Aranda, and you find a way to win a game. And it was kind of in the mold that we've seen for most of the year, where it's the offense isn't quite there, but I felt like they still did some good things offensively. Salvi had 2 hits. Michael swinging a hot stick still. Isbell had 2 hits. Bobby had 2. Vinny obviously with the big one. So it felt like they were starting to trend a little bit. And they had 11 hits in the game. They only got 3 runs. It was again some runners in scoring position stuff that they didn't handle. Flip side, this is where Royals pitching makes a massive difference. Tampa had 4 hits. They went 0 for 8 runners in scoring position and left 10 on. That is not always a sustainable way to win, but for this team, it might be, because the pitching is so good, both in the bullpen and in the starting rotation, They're just going to find ways to win games however they need to. And it's just by all means, we're just going to get it done. Great example of that. And obviously Noah Cameron is the big story to come out of this. And I know we're going to see him in the big leagues again, fairly soon, because he absolutely showed that he can hang at the big league level. Talk about the game today, a little bit of an offensive outburst. We're going to do that right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, and yeah, that includes Prize Picks. Hit all of your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offers. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button, especially on YouTube, but on all platforms as well. Like, rate, review, subscribe, whatever it takes on those platforms as well. I appreciate everybody that is hanging out live. If you are, please drop some stuff in the chat. Should have some time to answer some questions at the end tonight, if there are any. But if not, we'll answer them on Sunday, if that's what it takes. Game today, day game, getaway day in Tampa. Seth Lugo stacked another really solid outing together. Gave up a home run early, fastball over the plate to Yandy Diaz, and Yandy didn't miss it. He's got a great opposite field approach and was really, really strong and drove it out to right center through some wind. I guess the wind was still kind of blowing in today a little bit. Didn't matter for him and gave him a 1-0 lead. But later on, Michael Massey comes up and gets a sac fly and gets the Royals going a little bit. Shane Baz has been very good this year for the Rays, but they had a beat on him a little bit, and they really took him out of his game. It was a lot of fastball curve, and when you got a 50-50 shot against the guy, for the most part, you're going to have an opportunity to have success, and they did, and they took full advantage of everything that they had to he had to offer. Fifth inning is what kind of blew the lid off of it. Jonathan India hits a ball pretty hard. He gets on, or not him, I apologize. Freddie gets on in the fifth. Bobby's up with 2 outs, and first pitch, 98, top of the zone, and just drives it out to right field. Now, would it have been a home run in Kauffman Stadium? No. In 28 other parks, it would not have been a home run. But you're playing in a minor league park, and the ball goes out. It counts just the same. A big-time 2-run home run, and extends the hitting streak to 22 games for Bobby Witt Jr., and goes up 3-1. Then Vinny comes up, crushes a ball to dead center over the head of Chandler Simpson. He's on. And then Salvador Perez, same thing, almost same spot, drives the ball out over Chandler Simpson's head. And it's 4-1 just like that. They work in the sixth after, they put up a crooked number. And the best part about that crooked number was Seth Lugo goes out and has an efficient, quick 1-2-3 inning and gets out of it, shuts them down, keeps the momentum on the Royals side. Then they throw up a crooked number again in the sixth. They load the bases with a few walks, and then that's it for Boz. Reliever comes in, hits Bobby with a changeup on the first pitch. It was not intentional. Like it was a changeup or breaking ball that got him up on the arm that just didn't break. It's fine. Vinny comes up in the next, so then at that point it's 5-1, and then Vinny comes up and we see finally he gets one of those hits with runners in scoring position that he did so much last season. Drove a ball to left center, scores 2 for Mean and Jonathan India, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Michael came up later and added 1 in the 8th, but by that point the game was pretty well in hand. It was like finally like an aha moment for this team a little bit that everyone was hitting. 10 guys that got in this game got a hit. The only guy that didn't was Kevin Biggio, who came in for Salvi, who left, after hitting his double, left with hip soreness. He slid into second head first and said he felt something when he slid. I think it's just precautionary, so I'm not gonna be too concerned about it. Salvi's a tough dude. There's like a 95% chance that he's gonna be in the lineup tomorrow. So until the Royals are concerned, I'm not going to be. But Bobby 1 for 3, Vinny 2 for 6, Massey even got a hit, and he's been scuffling, as I know you all know. Mark Canha came up and got a hit and a walk. Fermin with 2 hits, continued a hot series. Drew Waters, another 2-hit game. The big one was Michael Garcia, who was he was hitting 5 today, but he was a spark for this team very early on. It was clear that he was just ready to have a hell of a game. And he comes in and he has 3 hits and 3 stolen bases. And according to Ian Kraft with the Royals, he said, he tweeted out, in the midst of the Royals sweep, Michael logged the first ever 3-hit, 3 stolen base game by a Royals third baseman. So not even George Brett did this. And the 28th such game in club history. But this was the first by a third baseman. He's also the 12th Venezuelan-born Major League Baseball player to do it. 18th time that it's happened in big league history. I'm at a point, and I talked about it before, some, kind of cautious optimism about Michael because of how he started last year. I kind of, you buy into it, but I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep doing it. And I still want to continue to see him stack these games, but there's a big enough sample of what he's done to this point where I think there's a good amount of this that is real. The weighted runs created plus is up to 123, slashing now 296, 353, 435. Hasn't really come. The power really hasn't come since that first week, but it's been a lot of doubles. It's been a lot of hard hit balls. He's pulling the ball efficiently. He's not pull happy, but when he has the opportunity on the inner half, he's taking advantage of it. If not, he's going up the middle the other way when he needs to. He doesn't look like he's trying too hard. He looks more relaxed, which there's some things you can't quantify with this, but I think he's in a much better spot mentally. Looks like he's not kind of spinning his wheels trying to get it all figured out. And even with less power, so to speak, than what we saw at the beginning of last year, the ISO is higher. The BABIP's in a good place where it doesn't feel like this is like he's just on this crazy, string of good luck. It certainly doesn't feel that way. He's walking at a good clip, and he's never been a dude that strikes out a ton. I'm close to believing that this is who Michael Garcia might be, in a much better position moving forward. And it makes this offense a hell of a lot better. I know that sounds obvious, but you didn't know. We kind of had baked in Michael's just going to play, and I don't know what he's actually going to be, and really just going to focus on the top 4 guys and let everyone else figure it out. Well, Michael's inserted himself into that conversation as now Vinny's starting to get going a little bit. I think that he had a couple of really good plate appearances that did not result in at-bats, but he looked way better at the plate, way more comfortable. He missed a grand slam by maybe a tenth of an inch on the barrel And he knew that he had just missed it, but I thought he put a really good swing on it. And then later in the game at the end, they bring in Mason Montgomery, the Rays do, who's a lefty with a high spin, high vert fastball, 98, 99 miles an hour. And Vinny just kept in with a slider that's like 93. And he's just fighting it off and fighting it off and fighting it off and fighting it off. And then eventually puts the ball in play. But it's like, man, that's a good at bat, even if it's ended up being a fielder's choice and nothing special. Like it was an at bat. You're like, okay, he's starting to get going a little bit. Salvi just keeps driving doubles, I guess. And that's just what he's going to do. And as it warms up, I think we're going to see some of that power come. I don't think we're too far away from one of those heaters that Salvi gets on where he hits, 4 homers in 10 games or whatever it is. Jonathan India looks like he's starting to get rolling. So I'm hoping that this is the start of the offense starting to take some pressure off of the pitching, because the pitching is going to do its thing, but I don't think it's conducive to a lot of success over the course of the season to, hey, we got you too. We need you to win this for us now. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's not a great way to win. And I may have been too negative earlier in the week. I may have swung a little too far in the other direction about like being unhappy that they're winning, even though they're, it's more with the way that they're winning than that they're actually winning, obviously. But I think this team is starting to trend in the other direction now, and winning is an infectious thing. It cures a lot of this stuff. And it's like, hey, we know we can be better, but we're winning right now. And that's what matters. And now we're going to go out and we're going to continue to stack these wins. And seems like they're in a really good place to be able to do that. They now are going to head a little bit, and they're going to head up north on the East Coast there. And they're going to go to Baltimore. 3 games set there, and this will close out the time their time against the Orioles this year. Knock it out early, just like they did last season. Your probables are Michael Walker versus Dean Kramer on Friday. Chris Bubich versus Tomoyuki Sugano on Saturday, and then Michael Lorenzen versus Kyle Gibson on Sunday. The Orioles have not been very good this year. They have had a really tough start to the season. Although ironically, I think they're coming off of a series win against the Yankees, but they're still 12-18. They just have not. A lot of it kind of goes to the pitching. Has been a huge part of this for them. This is something I've talked about a little bit in the offseason, that we talk about maybe the Royals didn't do enough. The Orioles didn't at all. They were the only major investments that they made were Sugano, who's a 35-year-old on a 1-year deal, and a 41-year-old Charlie Morton, who's been awful. Cedric Mullins has been their best hitter this year. Ryan O'Hearn has had a solid year. But like the guys that they're really relying on for, major contribution, like Adley is doing okay, 222, 330, 364. Not awesome with a 107 weighted runs created plus. Jackson Holiday is taking a step forward, but is it enough? Gunnar Henderson has not gotten off to a great start, striking out 28% and a 91 weighted runs created plus. He did deal with some injuries earlier in the year. They signed Tyler O'Neill to a big deal, big 3-year deal. That was another guy that they went and got. He's got a 91 weighted runs created plus, and he's striking out 28% and providing little to no power. He had a home run on opening day, and that's about all he's done. On the pitching side, I mean, it's tough right now, especially for their starters. Now, I will say Tomoyuki Sugano has been very good, at least from an ERA perspective. It's a 3 flat ERA, and like we saw in the game that the Royals played against them, I think it was the Saturday game of that series, Sugano can sink it, cut it. I know he's gonna throw a bunch of different breaking balls, just junk ball you to death, and he's been successful, but they've also seen him once before, and the FIP is 2 runs higher than the ERA. So he's bound to flip in the other direction. Dean Kramer, who they saw earlier this year, He has a 7.04 ERA right now. The FIP's a little lower, but still. And he doesn't have a super high strikeout rate. And then Kyle Gibson faced the Yankees earlier this year. First start of the year. I think he was a little banged up. And he got greeted with 3 home runs in the first inning. Or 4 home runs in the first inning. 3 back-to-back to start. And then gave up a couple more. So the ERA is ridiculous. It's 22, but it's just 1 start. But Kyle Gibson's also in his mid to late 30s. Kind of on the other side of it now. So I don't know, man. Like, this feels like an opportunity for the Royals to continue to jump on a wounded animal here and just put them away. And, you win that series. I thought this was a situation coming into the year, and why I talked so highly about them winning that series against the Orioles, that, okay, you win that series, you put yourself in a position where you're going to win. You have an opportunity to win the season series, which then helps you with tiebreakers moving forward in the playoff picture, because the Orioles are going to be there. I don't know if they are. And if you go in, you win 2 or 3 here, you possibly sweep, which I don't think, with the way the pitching has been and with the way the offense is starting to turn a corner, which I believe it's turning a corner, then you got a chance to sweep the series and just not kick them while they're down and put them even further behind. And with the way the Yankees and Red Sox have been playing to start this year, it's a serious uphill climb for them to get back in the AL East. They're already 5.5 back. You lose this series, maybe 7 back. They have a negative 49 run differential. Like, this is wild considering where I thought they might be coming into the year. So we'll see. I am excited. Obviously, the tune has changed significantly since that Rockies series. Felt like people had kind of written the Royals off. They were ready to be done with them. The team is bad. Everything stinks. And then a week later, here we are, and we're way more excited. You're only 2.5 back of the Tigers now. You're in a wild card spot as it sits today. Expectations have changed quite a bit and fast, and this is how fluid it can be sometimes. And the run differential is -5, so it's not like you're winning some of these games. Like, for instance, the Guardians are 18-13, and they're second in the Central. They have a -24 run differential, right? The Athletics are in the same spot as the Royals for the wild card, and they have a -25. So the Royals are putting themselves in a good position, good pitching, good defense, and the offense is coming around to rack up some more wins and keep this thing going. Because not only do you have the Orioles, who are a last place team you're going to play now, you then have the White Sox coming in for 4 right after that. So you have a chance to stack even more before a real test in the Red Sox comes to town next weekend. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict the future, but you keep stacking these wins, man. It puts you in a much better position, and we're back closer to where we thought they would be at the beginning of the year, before they got mired in that slump there for 2 weeks, where that road trip where they played really poorly and the offense didn't do anything. But it seems like they're starting to trend in the right direction now after playing a really solid series on the road against the Rays. And I want to see them continue to do so against the Orioles and not let up. Now is not the time for it. You're winning these games. As Bobby said at the end of last year, we didn't come this far to come this far. There's a long way to go in the season, obviously. There's only 32 games played. We're getting close to the quarter pole, and when you get to the quarter pole, you kind of know who you are for the most part. So stack a few more wins before we get there, and we're looking at a pretty solid team here. It should be pretty exciting. Toast game, I got to give it to Noah Cameron. I know I mentioned it earlier, but an incredible big league debut. Not the last that we're going to see of him. And I'm excited to see what they have for him moving forward. I'll also give it to Michael Garcia as well for a really good start to the road trip. And I think what we're seeing from him is not fool's gold like we saw at the beginning of last year, that this dude is going to be a key contributor for the Royals as we move forward in the season. And going to be a big part of it, I think, is what we're seeing right now. So cheers to those two. that is going to do it for One Royal Way tonight. I appreciate everybody that hung out live or listened to this after the fact. We will talk on Sunday night after the game against the Baltimore Orioles. We'll talk about that whole series, preview the week, and we'll talk a little. I'll try and get a little bit of minor league stuff in there. I went longer than I thought on just these two games and a little preview, but I appreciate everybody hanging out and listening to me ramble and talk about this team. I enjoy the hell out of doing this, and we'll talk soon. I'll see y'all on Sunday night. Be sure to hang out with me live at 8:30 Central here on YouTube. Talk soon.